Hey, we're going to jump right in. But before I do, this is an audio only show. Just let you know up front. Let's get into it. Wobbity wop, a Destiny swap in the latest episode. And I'm jumping right in of Real Housewives of Atlanta. Porsha uses the term Destiny swap when talking to her sister Lauren. And she talks about it fearfully a bit. And I'm wondering if that's because she knows a thing or two about Destiny swapping. And y'all know what I'm talking about. Her and Fallon's situation. After the episode and after I posted, I thought about that as I talked to a friend. And that Destiny swapping piece got her shook. And it makes sense why she's a little bit shook about Shamea and decides to back out. And she decides to back out of the season. For a while, I gave Porsha props of backing out of the season and just letting Shamea kind of do her thing within the Housewives realm. But let's get into Destiny swapping, and we're going to get into it in a biblical sense, right? And it's a reason for that, and only because the wording online just has a bit more structure around it. And it might be why she's a little bit shaken up. You know, Atlanta is a very, Atlanta is a very, as free-spirited of a place it is, it's also a very Christian-based place. A Christian-based place. So let's get into it. In the Bible, there's no direct term or mention of destiny swapping. However, there are stories in which destinies kind of do swap. And so the term destiny swapping is not explicitly mentioned in the Bible. However, there's concepts that relate to the idea of losing one's divine purpose or blessing due to various factors such as disobedience or deception. And engaging in those things could lose your divine destiny or your divine right. So Esau and Jacob, Esau lost his birthright to Jacob due to his carelessness. Saul and David, Saul's kingship was transferred to David because of disobedience, and Queen Vashti and Esther, where Vashti lost her throne to Esther due to pride. So these are some of the stories that are highlighted that personal choices and spiritual sensitivity. Let me re-say that. These stories highlight that personal choices and spiritual sensitivity are crucial in preserving one's own destiny. And it really is a part of spiritual warfare. And so when Porsha gets into it in the last few episodes about Shamea, and I could see it in her eyes when Shamea came at Porsha at the table and brought up her child and her mother, it kind of shook Porsha, got Porsha out of her character. These things happen. When these things happen or someone sees that, there are dramatic shifts and changes that are occurring. This person is here to, whether Shamea or whoever, a person is here purposely to agitate you in order to get you out of yourself, out of your divineness, so that things may take a turn or turn a course that works against you where you were leading to, or where you're going to, or where you currently are or currently at in life. But we saw this with Fallon, right? I just want to share, let me see if I can bring up this little clip of when on season 13 of Real Housewives of Atlanta, when Porsha shows up to Fallon's house, and you're going to hear just the greeting, but just listen to the greeting. Just hear it out.
Okay. Hey. This is Fallon. Nice to meet you. We bought a bottle. And this is my sister. Nice to meet you. Your home is beautiful, Sally. How fun.
We're so excited.
All right.
Putting on our best behavior.
Hi, ladies. How are you?
This is my husband, Simon, everyone. How are you? You're good. Boom, boom. Yes.
Nice to meet you. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely.
Yes,
Thank you for coming.
And I see you laid it out for us.
This is gorgeous.
Yeah, solid.
Yeah, that makes me want to get married all over again.
I mean, it's gorgeous.
Yes,
It's
we
gorgeous.
may just have to renew our vows, ring upgrade.
You know,
Love
the
it.
usual.
Love it.
Well,
Oh, yes.
I'm the
ladies, you
queen.
did whatever you want.
This looks
Okay.
great.
Absolutely.
You know, it's been heavy weighing on me, just all of the stress with Black Lives Matter, worrying about my people.
I kind of let it extend for a bit. And the reason why I let it extend for a bit is that in that you hear Porsha talk about needing to let go because of Black Lives Matter, and that has to do with Porsha getting arrested that year in that season. She was arrested for her protesting, and I just thought that part was interesting. Her storyline is like, okay, she was doing freedom fighter stuff, and now you're at Fallon's house. And in that, you hear the greeting, "I love your house." And Fallon talks about the ring upgrade, and she says, "Okay." And if you saw her face, it was very straight face, but like, "Okay, you guys have it all laid out for us." They're very positive pieces where she's affirming, but is it really affirmation? Is it really her being excited to be there, or was she snooping? You can tell this was Portia's first time. It may not have been her first time at the house, but it seemed like her first time actually showing up to the house, because she's telling her how nice her house is. In the clip, you kind of see her looking around, especially when they go kick it by the pool. If you continue to look at it, Fallon is offering like hookah and being very accommodating. You hear Simon say, "I'm very well trained." Okay. And all of this starts to happen. And then before you know it, Portia's getting married to Simon not too long after that season. So this comes from the Atlanta Black Star, and it says that, and this is actually from Fallon herself. I think she has a conversation with Atlanta Black Star, and it's reported on here that 4 months after filing for divorce from his then wife in January of 2021, which was Fallon, Simon was engaged to Porsha, and they officially tied the knot November 2022. The show airs sometime around 2020 or 2021. Season 13 aired in 2021. And it airs starting it airs in 2022, and it rolls all the way until May 9th of 2021, where it ends with the season. And so around that time is when you see them divorce, not too long after this stuff is all airing, and then is engaged to Porsha. Simon engages to Porsha not too long. And Fallon says herself, I'm not going to say like there wasn't any parts, that he might have thought could have been authentic or something could have grown. Fallon did admit, adding, "I don't know their business." She believes their initial becoming public and doing everything the way that it went about everything was definitely a ploy. And this is a quote from the article that Fallon gave. Also in that quote is that they were already together for a year, probably while I was happily married to Simon, she said, adding that Portia's child's father, Dennis, actually told her. And I saw that being interesting too. Dennis is in the middle of a lot of Portia's relationships. Even in that reality show Porsha had, Dennis, on Bravo, Dennis was in that as well, and continues in this season to be in her business about dating other folks. So that's very interesting. And he likes to talk to all her surrounding friends. Or people that are surrounded with her, such as Drew. He constantly keeps in contact with Shamia, and it seems like he was talking to Fallon too. So that's interesting. And sorry, y'all might hear me call her Fallon, because I've been trying to get it right. It's because I always want to say Fallon, but Fallon. Okay. And so Fallon joined in season 13, and she wasn't necessarily a housewife, but she was definitely a guest of the show. And she met Porsha, invited her and a few other ladies of the cast to the home she shared with Simon at the time. And she said that she married Simon when she was 26 and he was in his 50s, noting that all his current behavior is actually reminiscent of his past playboy ways that he had during their 2-year marriage. She continues to say, Fallon continues to say, "It's re-traumatizing for me because I'm the one who went through it first, which I thought was interesting as it relates to this idea of destiny swap. Because in order to swap, you got to have one other person, and that's two people at the very least, and someone has to have something first. Someone has to be established in that course of life first, right? So when she says it's traumatizing for me because I'm the one that went through it first. That's very interesting. And she says, you have to understand, Simon and I were actually married. It's real, she said. Our marriage was very real, end quote. But according to her, they never had an ending discussion, quote, end quote, to put any punctuation on signifying the end of their relationship. So she says, Fallon says this. She says, we never said goodbye. We never said, I wish you well. She said, adding, there was not real closure. It just went away. One day I was happy. The next day he was gone. She further explained, he just never came back to the house. This is her account of it from this article at this time. I don't know. From this point, I don't know update because this is also kind of where I left off of their storyline. Besides people just kind of coming at Porsha throughout this different seasons, this is kind of where I left off too from the Simon Porsha saga until the divorce. I didn't really watch the whole show she had, Porsha show she had with Simon. There's one other part that I want to share with you on this article. It does come down that the article talks about questioning if she cheated or not. And she basically, I think, concludes like the timelines was like not there for the cheating. Because she talks about like engagements and times and things breaking off. But one other part that is important, let me stop. This article where it goes, in her divorce filings, Fallon's divorce filings. Oh no, sorry. Let me back that up. In her divorce filings, and this is Porsha's divorce filings because it goes into Porsha's filings. Porsha detailed instances of deception of Simon's, his alleged illegal citizenship status, and discrepancies in Simon's claimed financial status. Subsequently, he was photographed while on vacation, apparently with another woman. These developments were new to Porsha, but Fallon claims to have known this all along. And essentially, based on her testimony, the two switched sides or switched roles. Essentially, based on her testimony, the two switched roles. Switching roles is the theme of destiny swapping, right? Dramatic shifts in life's path. So when we think about these things, we have to be careful of, you want to be careful of not saying things and manifesting things too. So Porsha saying this could be manifesting the destiny swap that she might be prone to right now with Shamia, and she might be fighting this destiny swap with all her might because Shamia seems to be coming for this destiny. She seems to be coming for Porsha. And a part of destiny swapping is your own divine agency, human agency, right? And Shamia constantly uses her agency to bring up issues with Porsha or lead Porsha on into some type of, I don't want to say trap, but definitely a scenario in which Porsha loses her own human agency. And therefore, it allows a narrative in which Porsha can be talked against or people look down upon Porsha. I think that the thing with Shamia and Porsha in this instance is that they both kind of have pasts that are intertwined. So in terms of things that they probably did that they don't want coming out on television. So if one person says something that comes out, then the other person has to tell their side of the story. And then that makes them implicit in something. And then if someone else defends themselves, then they're implicit in something, and they don't want all that to come out. And that's why they have to pick choice words. Stories in the Bible that are like key scriptures related to destiny swapping is the Rebecca and Jacob orchestrated the swap of Esau's blessing. So you need to be careful about the blessings and who you're around in terms of your own life's blessings. And Porsha, Fallon's blessing was Simon. Fallon has kids, has a bunch of stuff. So does Simon, right? But she had this big house, and at the end of the day, you need Maslow hierarchy of needs. You need a house, some food, right? Shelter, clothes, for, good temperature, a thermostat you can touch, and you're pretty much set. And you have some transportation, you're really set. Simon seemed to have provided some decent, very luxurious basic living on the Maslow hierarchy of needs. If we're looking at that, they're all luxurious. And then you get to some self-actualization at the top of the Maslow, whether you get to that point or not. But in terms of basic, decent living, that's what she had. There's another talk of Desiree, this website called Desiree, I don't think I'm saying it right, Desiree and Monsieur, and she breaks down evil exchanges as well. A person may unleash gossip and slander against you to steal and thwart a relationship or opportunity. A person may seduce the person you are in a relationship with. A person may tamper with the food and drink at a party to unduly influence you or take from you. A person may hire a witch doctor against your person or your bloodline. A person may raise an altar to destroy your marriageability or financial stability. A person may even arrange for your person or your destiny to be switched at birth. Be careful. And the person I speak of may be a natural person or a little literal spirit. A human being may initiate the switch with the help of other forcefully power. That's not what she says, but I don't use certain words. A strong man or a principality may ordain the switch and influence of a human to activate it. Never forget that both heaven and hell have a plan for your life. That was preaching. And to live on this earth is to be in the midst of a cosmic game of tug of war. I'm going to link this. I'm going to put this website on the description for y'all to read it, because I just stumbled upon this, and I think this is really good just for those who are more interested in destiny swapping. And, this person on this website also lists like a stolen position. I have seen servants on horses while princes walk on the ground like servants. Ecclesiastes 10:7. Some of you have been ordained to high positions in life, high seats of power. These seats could be in government, entertainment, education, ministry, but you're struggling. You never get the interview. If you get the interview, the job falls through. If you get the job, you're fired over a minor infraction. Character assassinations could have ruined your chances to break into certain circles. An accident could have disfigured or paralyzed you or delayed you or destroyed your chances altogether. Meanwhile, you see enemies prosper. You see the wicked grow and advance. You see the deceitful gain favor with men. You see the less talented and lazy prosper while your diligence and artistry goes unnoticed. Your invention keeps getting pushed to the bottom of the pile, while mediocre inventions secure funding for production. Whatever the reason, you live your life in a position financially, economically, professionally, and or socially that is not right, that is not supposed to be your life, and you see it no way out of it. You may be the victim of a quote unquote swap or exchange. You can read that part. Princes were meant to rule, not servants. We're meant to rule, not servants. I'm going to link both of the destiny swapping sites, because one is a really biblical sense and one kind of talks about it in a more pagan sense, or not that. Yeah, more in a spiritual, way deeper spiritual, not a pagan sense. Let me take that back. More in a spiritual warfare sense, and providing biblical tools for it. And I say that because she did use destiny swapping loosely. It is a very spiritual warfare based attack, and you just have to be mindful while on this plane how many attacks can affect you, and don't get too bogged down by the attacks themselves when you understand that it's just a part of spiritual warfare, and you have to go into your spiritual tool chest, and that's a whole other topic. But as this came up, I think for Porsha, we don't know how her assignment, we don't know the background of her assignment, but we do, on surface, we find it suspicious. On surface, it always felt suspicious. And there's no way around it. And the one other part about that is we don't really see housewives go after a husband and actually marry them. And that set a whole other tone in a different way for housewives. So when there's Porsha haters on there, they might have a real reason to hate. Real solid reasons why they don't like her or not feeling her character. And I just think that's interesting that now it's turned on Shamia. And I think Shamia needs to be careful because Porsha may have tried to do that swap with her at one point. It didn't succeed. And she got Gerald. And she lives a very nice life, very similar to one that Phelan has in terms of like a nice house and living good. And she supersedes that with like all her fancy clothes, and they go on really nice trips and things of that nature, international trips at that. And Shamia is worried about Porsha in a way that is concerning for the show. This show is just content. We all make content from it. That show is content. Shamia needs to see that for what it is and humble herself before she hurts herself in the situation that she's doing with Porsha. And people have said this a million times. And you can see this got Porsha running scared, but a bit trying to say she's destiny swapping. And the part that specifically is the swap is being one of the top and iconic housewives. I don't know if it's worth all this. I don't know if it's worth the games that they're playing, but I just thought it was interesting that she said that, considering all that has happened since season 13 with Porsha. And I think Porsha's trying to play it smart, but at the end of the day, it is what it is when it comes to playing these spiritual games, and it's best to bow out. And I think she's been trying to bow out to keep what she has, to keep her own agency. And that may be the best place she could ever do. So we'll find out what happens on the reunion. Let me know what you think of destiny swapping. Have you felt like you've had a destiny swap with someone, been affected by it, or thwarted off a destiny swap that someone may have tried to do with you? Let me know. And if you disagree, thanks for listening. If you got this far, like and subscribe. Have a good one, y'all.